Hello. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Ian. Where's my clicker, guys? And please turn on the presentation, if you can. So, in NomadMania we tell, show me your map and I will tell who are you. In fact, it's possible to tell a lot about the person depending on the way how they travel, how they color their map, what is their slope score, how many regions did they visit in a particular country. Is it the person is the overlander, or they just prefer to run as quickly as possible to make all their like 193, just visiting the airports and so on. So during this presentation, I'm going to share my personal story, integrating this with some of NomadMania examples. And I would like also, guys, for you to be the most useful. So right now you can just download our app on App Store and on Google Play. Just type NomadMania, because in the end of the talk, there will be a small practical, not even a task, but like a practical exercise, I would say so, and I'm pretty sure you will enjoy it. Download NomadMania app right now, please. And you know, the way of the story, how we all gathered here was starting far away ahead. For me personally, it was around 1 year ago when here in Bangkok, I met Rick. Rick, do you remember how we met 1 year ago when we took this picture to promote your event? And the fast moving forward, the year went very, very fast. So it's like great, guys, to see you all here. I hope it has been an amazing year for you. For me personally, this year was titled as a year without home. In late 2023, we with NomadMania hosted an event in Ukraine. I left on October 31st, and since then, I haven't been to my native city, Lviv. So looking on this map, you can see how my travels look like in 2024. This is actually a hint, it's one of NomadMania features, because you can select visited particular regions in particular year, countries or regions, and this will create this nice map for you. I basically traveled circumnavigating the globe, moving eastward, and everything started in Thailand, and everything is now continuing over here. However, something what NomadMania is special about is that we just dive much deeper than just countries. So this would be the regions I visited in 2024. Also, this is possible once you use the trips feature on NomadMania. Those were the flights. Hint for the future. And if you check out these flight maps of mine made in 2024, you might notice a small gap in the middle. So, just before coming here, halfway from Europe, I made overland, actually fulfilling one of my dreams, going solo overland from Caspian Sea to the Indus River, crossing Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. Amazing overland trip. This is something what I really like to do. And because of all of those travels, I would tell that for me personally, I took things to the extreme. Looking at these statistics, which is also available to everyone on NomadMania, you can see that in 2024, I have visited 118 regions, putting myself on a fifth place in the ranking between particular users who visited regions in 2024. So this is just a small slice of all the massive amount of data and interesting information you are able to extract by simply using NomadMania. But it was not crazy always like this. You can see a small boy holding a tennis racket in his left hand somewhere in Lviv, Ukraine, where I was born, amazing city. Who have been to Lviv, by the way? Please raise your hand. Hope you can support my statement. Amazing town. I was studying there as a law student, and before graduation, I managed to visit around 30 countries as a student sensu stricto. Usually relying mostly on different international internships, getting a grant programs, you know, to save some money, and also doing like academic contributions to the student life, because there when you can match your professional development and travel. However, this was mostly only in Europe, when I graduated, the life path took me on the way that actually I didn't fulfill my legal career, but on the other hand, found a very exciting journey in tech and in travel, and really fulfilled my dream to travel the world. So for the last more than decade, I can truly tell that I'm living the life of a dream with all the ups and downs of it. First of all, I'm very grateful that it's shared with my wife Marta. There she is also sitting over here, and on this photo we are probably in our early teens, somewhere in Crimea, Ukraine. And then on the other photo, you can see me with the long hair and sitting in one of the warungs of Indonesia, trying to catch a Wi-Fi to upload some photo or get a consulting call with one of my clients back then. It was still the pre-Instagram time. In order to catch internet, you can see like there is a small white pen drive, like the stick that you have to put the SIM card inside and to catch the internet, because I mean Wi-Fi was pretty much not available back then, and there was no smartphones back then. You could not make a hotspot yourself. So I'm in this game for quite some time already, as you can see. And then, you know, for a couple of years we were traveling together 6 to 7 months per year, seeing all the amazing places around the world. And I just started questioning myself, like what's the point? Why? Because you already seen all the continents, you've seen the countries, you tried different food. I mean, is there like anything else behind it? So then I started to read how other people are doing this, and we are talking about somewhere 2014-13. I decided that visiting every country in the world would put much more sense, much more structure in travels. And I believe a lion's share of this audience was going through similar thoughts in their head as well. And it helped, because it definitely put a new perspective. Eventually, you started to have a much more new, inspiring and interesting goal, which actually shaped your travel, right? So from that point, you would prioritize visiting a new country as opposed to exploring the previous one, since you are chasing the 193 as many people in this audience. So approximately by reaching 30 years old, actually by reaching 30 years old, I have visited my 100th country, which was Burkina Faso. And also at the same time, as a bonus, I covered every country in Europe, which is another kind of a good milestone, you would say. Looking at this picture with a like really dry skin, with a burnt nose, I could really feel I was hitting the limit. It's not easy, right? Especially when you are bound with particular circumstances, especially when you think, okay, like if by the time I'm 30, I will visit 100 countries. So it felt like kind of putting myself into the framework. And approximately in 2017-18, when I continued chasing new countries, and within 1 year I did 28 new countries, which is also recorded on our statistics on NomadMania, I really felt at some point that travel was take away life for me. It was affecting my finances, it was affecting relations, my health, fitness, mental health, and so on. It was that there is a big piece of travel which takes over a lot of other things in your life. And just because I decided I want to be a cool guy and visit every country in the world. So I started questioning myself again, like why? Why am I doing this, and looking for answer. And then I met NomadMania. Then, thanks to Slavek Muturi, who is sitting over there, who made the introduction email to Harry Mitsidis, the founder of NomadMania, because Slavek could not travel to this, one of the first conferences of NomadMania, he told to Harry, hey, there is this guy Orest, since I'm not coming, maybe you would allow a young man to join your community. Dziękuję bardzo. Thank you, Slavek. I mean, since there was an empty spot, they told, well, why not? Let them come over on board. There was an amazing event. I also see quite a few people here. You have a Sandy. Sandy, are you around? João Paulo, Phillips, Harry is somewhere around. Так, who else is here? Okay. Joan as well, right? So it was pretty interesting community of people because we were the youngest, we were in our early 30s, and it felt like, okay, it's interesting, I never seen this kind of people before, and there is definitely a lot I can learn from them. Something what I realized is that 193 is actually not a big deal anymore. So many people already did it. There is the first person who visited every country in the world. There is the first person who visited every country in the world in most of the countries. There are female travelers also who did this. There is a person who visited every country in the world by the time he reached 30, the youngest, and you name it, you know? So it became like, okay, there are people, and you know, this is just technical question. It's just time, a little bit of money, and a little bit of dedication. 193, especially in the modern age, is completely not a big deal. But it's still a big deal, and we at NomadMania take it very, very seriously, since we are the authority for UN Masters. We are the organization which actually checks if someone visited a country or not. We have the most exhaustive list of people who visited every country in the world and sorted in all types of different categories, starting from their country of origin, going into the age when they did it and what was their last country, you name it. And what's also interesting over here is that we have even the research about people who visit every country. So welcome to NomadMania, and simply check it out. So I decided to update my goal. And I thought, okay, I don't have to chase it anymore. I want to take back my life. There is this amazing community that I want to belong, maybe part of. Let me finish every country in the world by the time I reach 40, which is in 2027, and it's actually, we are talking about in 3 years. Since I am now on 140 countries, it means that it would be another 20 countries per year, which is still not a big deal, but I set this goal 5 years ago. So for me, that would be an easy travel of 10 new countries per year, when by the time you reach 40, you visit every country, right? Sounds like a plan. You continue following this and continue life. And then COVID happened, which actually seems like a really easy vacation at the moment. Comparing to what happened afterwards, you all know that Russia invaded my native country, Ukraine, and despite having the option to travel around, I decided to come back and participate in our national resistance, which is basically much more important than any kind of travel or anything else. Dedicating at least 2 years of my life to this. That's another topic to talk about. I've seen a lot of bad stuff happening over there, but the life goes on. And guys, I decided, okay, you know, damn it, let's liberate myself. Let's try to be free. Let's try to think out of the box and chase actually what matters for you, by also having a positive impact around the world. So I took different thoughts, how can I do it? And I found a very interesting wheel of life exercise, which can be very clearly layered on a traveler's life. You know, it's a relative composition of different segments, but basically it's possible to divide life and travel at the same time into parts of your career, into finance, physical, mental health, family and friends, romance and significant other, spiritual part, recreation, fun, and materialistic world. Because at some point, fun, recreation, including travel, was absorbing much more of this wheel for me. And I told you the story. So I want to have a balance here. And I think I am on the way to this balance. Let me show you an example, the way how it worked for me during this crazy extreme year that I started talking about today. In terms of career and work, this is our team of NomadMania. We all work online. Usually I book rooms in the hotels with a working desk and just show up. We have weekly calls with team. We cooperate online. We all live in different countries, but this is an important thing which brings you food on the table. You just have to do it. Nowadays, you have Wi-Fi everywhere. You don't have to put this sticky drive inside to catch Wi-Fi. I mean, you just have to show up, you just have to do your job, you just have to deliver, and it doesn't matter where you are, at your home, in the office, or somewhere in the jungle. This is, I think, is absolutely not something extraordinary at the moment. Obviously, when you stay in hotels for 200 to 250 days per year, it affects your finances, right? So I can tell it's possible to divide travel in a wider sense into 3 major categories of expenses, which is accommodation, transportation, and food. And I believe that food is somewhere where you can save the most without losing the quality, because it can be similar great nutritious meal for $5 and for 25. And very often, the more simple food is actually much more memorable. I'm not sure how it works for you. And you can get meat, fresh fruits, and fresh vegetables pretty much everywhere in the world. In terms of transportation, I do take taxi, I do take charters, but I even enjoy much more taking a shared taxi somewhere in West Africa or Central Asia, paying for 2 seats, getting comfortable on the front seat near the driver, and have a great experience together with locals and going far destinations. That's how I did in Afghanistan, and that's how I crossed into Pakistan and so on. This is also a great memory on the photo on the left. Me, our Ukrainian group, and Konstantin Leorik. Kostya, you must be somewhere here. We just crossed the border from Sierra Leone to Liberia, not eating for a full day, going through the customs, and having this amazing dinner. You remember, right? Yeah, and in terms of accommodation, this is somewhere where I would like to spend more than the average, because the roof over your head is the place where you rest, where you refill your energy, from where you work in the end of the line. So that's kind of how I balance the finances without breaking my bank during travel. In terms of health and fitness, this is a tricky part in travel, but I'm a tennis player, as you've seen, and I cannot be the first traveler who visited every country in the world, not even the first Ukrainian who did every country in the world, but I do try to play tennis in every country. So far I play tennis in more than, I believe, 40 countries around the world, and who knows, maybe I'll be the first person who played tennis in every country in the world. I don't know. Something was interesting with tennis is that even if you're very lazy, it requires commitment of at least 2 people. So you actually, if you agreed on something, you have to show up. Tennis is one of the most one of the most popular sports in the world. There are tennis clubs in every country. I haven't been to the country where there is no tennis court, tennis club. At the same time, it's sort of exclusive sport, which also gives you a chance to find, it's a tribe, I would say, for many people. And it gives you a chance to establish meaningful connections with people very fast, and also they will open door to all other areas for you. So on one of the picture, I'm playing tennis with Omar, Egyptian traveler. He is actually nominated for our NomadMania Awards. He is one of the best junior tennis player of Egypt, and good friend of mine. We just played tennis in Cairo probably a week before he set on an overland journey from Egypt to Japan without flying. And roughly at those days, he's finishing his amazing overland journey. So imagine playing in the heat of Cairo, or imagine playing during the sweat of Kuala Lumpur with another local player who is at least twice younger than you. Like, this really puts you in shape a little bit, right? Friends and family. I'm blessed with amazing family. Fortunately, my parents are in good health. All of my family lives in Lviv. When we were traveling with my wife for long destinations, we usually spend like 6 to 7 months abroad, mostly in winter. But the only single rule was to come back home to Ukraine by Easter. And this is the Easter picture. You know, we have a nice Easter breakfast or lunch, you name it. And also, you know, when I matured, I kind of started realizing how more important it is to spend time with the family. So lately, I am building new relations with my father. We took a few road trips on the camper vans together. My father also joined me on a stretch in Uzbekistan between Bukhara and Tashkent during the trip I showed you previously in this presentation. So these things really, really matter. And I already mentioned quite a few times my wife Marta. We started traveling in our early 20s for $5, $7, $10 per night in different hostels and so on. From our early 20s, and as a couple we did over 80 countries. With not only without killing each other, but even like strengthening our relations. So that's also a very, very important part. And I'm so happy to see you here because lately we've been traveling, I would say 30% of the time separately. But now we are back in Bangkok, renting an apartment for a month just to you know, spend more time together. In terms of fun and recreation, if I'm not working on NomadMania or if I'm not playing tennis, you can usually find me by the bar somewhere. I really enjoy socializing, hang out with people. But what I enjoy more is probably doing like really tricky things. So an example from the recent trip was going from Afghanistan to Pakistan overland, even though according to the visa application regulations, the only way to arrive with the newly established Pakistani e-visa was by land. So basically, I did application form that I'm arriving to Islamabad airport because the land border was not tickable in the application form, but still decided to go over land because I just wanted to test for myself, which is the curiosity obviously, but also to provide a case study for all the other travelers that I hope will be navigating this stretch of land, which becomes very possible and interesting. So guys, just for you to know, if you are in Afghanistan and if you apply to for e-visa to Pakistan, despite that you will take any international airport as the arrival place, you can still go overland. That's a useful tip, I hope. Yeah. This is the backpack I've been traveling with for the full year, and there is a tennis racket sticking out of it. And I'm not overestimating. This is exactly the backpack I'm traveling. Carry-on size, 12 kilos. Sometimes if it's 10 kilo limit, I have to put a little bit of myself into the pockets. I never declare tennis rackets as a special sport equipment, even though it is subject to it. But simply when I get stopped, I just pay the fine. In the end of the day, numbers still work not to declare it as a special sport equipment because it's not really big. So it's very minimalistic. But at the same time, there is nothing wrong and we really enjoy comfort. So we often go overlanding with my wife with our car. We have this like rooftop tent, hammocks. We like good, comfortable travel too, right? So there are different parts, it's depending. When I travel by myself, I usually try to make it minimalistic. When we are together, we need more stuff for this. And the most tricky is obviously the inner part of ourself with all the whys, with all the motivation. And there is no cure for that. And there is no, in my opinion, some particular rule. Probably all the previous parts of a travel circle adds up to this. Generally speaking, I just try to stay always positive, be nice to people as I want them be nice to me. Don't think about the negative stuff. If I see anger from somewhere, place, it doesn't affect me. Anger stays there as well. And then basically it. Truly believing in what you do is probably the most important. It's possible to conquer the world without actually aggressive taking somebody from somebody else. Yeah? And it all looks great, guys, but obviously for any of these sections, I can name the same amount of cons, right? So if we roll back, for example, there is always con and there's always positive part. So You cannot imagine how many times being jet-lagged, I didn't want to show up for team calls of our amazing NomadMania team. And Daniel is somewhere here. Daniel, we always work shoulder to shoulder, but you don't imagine how many times there was a shitty Wi-Fi and you have to run somewhere, look for Wi-Fi, yeah. Or you always have to be there. If your team doesn't feel motivated, you still have to smile and provide them perspective of work. That's a difficult thing to do. I got poisoned my first morning when I arrived to Thailand, even though I went to the same food stall where I was eating every day 1 year ago. I don't think they wanted to poison me, maybe just I was too exhausted, or I was tired, or my body was adjusting to the new food and climate. But obviously, once I got a terrible, terrible poisoning with all the consequences of it, being stuck at the border between Mauritania and Senegal. When my wife was calling to the ambassador of Senegal in Dakar, of Ukraine, trying to take me out of there. So there are different stories which can affect your food, transportation activities and so on. How many times you overpay somewhere, or how many times you lose money. This also happens, obviously. Fitness is clear. And yeah, this affects the family and relations. I lost many friends, relations with friends, because of this life. Some people don't get it, and very often when I was coming back home, I was meeting my friends from school, and I was asking them, like, so how are you doing? I'm excited to hear about this. They told, like, well, like nothing happened. And when they ask you, you feel shy to start to tell what was happening about, and then simply you distance from your old friends, right? During my travels, I missed the death and the funeral of both of my grandparents. Because when they died, my parents didn't want to inform me, so I don't take wrong decisions from the different parts of the world, and so on. So this does affect these things as well. We had some troubles in our family life as a couple because of travel. It also affects, but we went over it. And yeah, it's not always fun. It's not always fun, people. You know it. So there are definitely cons to this lifestyle. But for me, it was a conscious decision, and I truly take account of it. And I feel that I don't owe anything to anyone, but there are still so many people that I'm accountable to. And first of all, those are the people who I already mentioned during this presentation. There is also one person who is not here inside the room, but outside, because I don't know, you can ask him why he decided not to watch my talk, but also a very close person to me. Sometimes Marta is angry on me because I spend more time with Harry than on the calls, at least for sure. Yeah, and this is obviously the Harry Mercedes, the founder of NomadMania. Like, he is the crazy guy. Like, Harry is the one who raises the limit and the pace very high, very far. But somehow we work together. Harry wrote a very incredible book of Welcome to the Hotel California. It's available on our stand. If someone of you want to touch at least a little bit of the NomadMania world, of these crazy maniacs of travel, I highly suggest you to buy the book. Harry will be happily writing it for you, and you will just catch the vibe that we have, because now it seems like we're on a very high spin, good curve in a positive sense. Harry, me, Orest, and Daniel, I believe we create a good balance in the company. Everyone is a different personality, but the most important stuff for us, apart from the personal things, right, is also to serve the community which trusts us, the community which follows NomadMania and which actually using these features that we are developing apart from all the spirit that NomadMania produce. We conduct different events, and obviously I'm so happy, guys, to see many of you here who are our members. So as you know, we always continue to produce value. Most people cannot even catch up with everything what we are doing, but I promise you, if you approach us, there is Daniel, approach to on our stand and tell us what you need, we will try to make it possible. Technologically, content-wise, we are here, guys, for you. So yesterday, during the presentation of Charles Wheely, there was a launch of an amazing feature. Open your app, look who is around and meet, right? This actually, it solves one of the biggest problems of travelers, loneliness, right? And imagine, okay, Bangkok is easy, but imagine you go to N'Djamena and you sit in your hotel after the dark. These generators keep working to produce Wi-Fi and electricity, and you just browse your phone and you see like, whoa, there's another traveler nearby. It's such an obvious thing and such a cool feature. So thumbs up, MTP, it's a great stuff. I also did here a few like screens, like it happened to everyone, right? How many times you missed your friend or other traveler in the same location because you just simply didn't know that you're around. So I told Daniel, like, Daniel, how come we still don't have this feature in NomadMania? Let's call our Ukrainian team of developers. They are all based in Ukraine, which is 5 hours behind, and do it. So basically, in one night, we coded something that we still didn't test. But can you help us test it? Who is ready? Who has the app? Okay, let me walk you through, guys. Open your app on NomadMania. The app has to be newly downloaded or updated. Click the filter button on the lower left corner. For your ease of use, click in the middle Serious and disable Serious, so you don't see museums, so the museums don't conflict with all your friends around. Serious stand almost as for landmarks. And then on the third slide, you can see nomads. So if you enable sharing location feature and you want to see other nomads, tell to our app, show nomads around me. A small detail here that for security reasons, we decided to make, to show the location of people within 250-meter radius, because we could have some questions from some agencies. But that's easily fixable. Everything is possible to do here as precise as possible. Just for many people not to freak out, we decided to make it a 1/4 kilometer radius precision. And come back to your map once you did those integrations. Click Locate Me, and you should be zoomed in to Bangkok, to Hotel Ambassador. And then around Hotel Ambassador, I hope you should be able to see much more travelers than those you see on the screen. Who sees this now? How many people you see around you? 65 people around. And imagine that you travel anywhere around the world, you see all the NomadMania people around you. But this is not the end, guys. Try to locate a person that you never met, that you didn't meet, that you didn't speak during this conference here. Click on this person, visit the profile, add this person as a friend, establish connection, and write the message to this person with something what you like the most on this event. Enjoy, guys. Hope this will really enhance your travels. Something what I really want to tell is that we really appreciate all the relations you are using on NomadMania, that you are using our service. One of our events that we are conducting soon will be the conference in Fergana Valley, Uzbekistan, in late May. using this QR code, just put your camera over there. It will take you to our page of that event. You can subscribe, and we are expecting over 100 people. So far, we have around 70 registrations, just for you to know. So welcome, this will be an amazing event. And to enhance this, I want to show you a small video which will hopefully encourage you to join us. Welcome. Thank you.
Anybody have a question? Come on now. Any questions?
You have 7 minutes, actually.
5.
So I just joined today.
If you can introduce yourself
Okay.
and say where you're from.
Lisa from USA. I just joined today and I see there's like many areas. Like what constitutes if you've been there? Like if you've been on a bus and driven through an area, does that count or you need to do something?
We have it's the never-ending question of the travel community. You know, what is considered to be a visit? So I believe in NomadMania we are one of the strictest in this sense. We have a full detailed document around it. I can send it to you in particular, or if you click what is a visit, you'll find this as a blog spot in our network. Long story short, this requires a physical presence somewhere and having some kind of meaningful experience. This is subjective, right? So an example would be, obviously all the transits don't count. So this would require leaving the transport hub, leaving the airport area. I'm talking about the minimal visit. We also consider a good visit. Going somewhere, but you know, just kissing the other part of the door would be not enough, but actually going and maybe buying a lunch. So, like, I'm simplifying over here, but you need to physically go, have a meaningful experience, and be able to prove it. Because many people don't prove it, but they claim to be, and this doesn't work in NomadMania. We are much more than strict with that, but something what I can assure you is that we are going to provide much clearer definitions of what is a visit, and we'll stick to it in the nearest time as well.
Frank Britton from Ireland. Orest, one of the things that I'm never clear about is rivers and lakes. They're mentioned in the series for various regions, but what constitutes being able to tick the box that you have somehow interacted with a river? Do you have is seeing it enough? Is driving over it enough? Is sailing on it? But obviously
having a picnic on the side of the river and dipping your toe would be enough to constitute you can complete a river or a lake in this case, yes.
So seeing it is not enough?
Being on the shore of the lake and having a picnic would be enough for a river or lake.
Thank you.
Okay, that is amazing. We're going to wrap it up. I'm sure you've seen outside NomadMania has a table set up. They're here and excited to answer any questions you have. Thank you, Orest.
All right. You've seen the movie.